And Boogie, if you want to come up and present, that's fine. We're making a rare exception to a fast rule for this beautiful woman who insists on saying something. She has to talk right.
First of all, I want to thank healthcare consumers and all the people, all of her staff. And I thank y'all for having me here. Because there's more people involved. And to just give the word to me, I want to make sure they're always thought of. Thank you.
All right. Maggie Cook is correct. There are more people involved in the campaign than the people standing up here. But thank you, Boogie. It is truly my great honor to be presenting the Lifetime Achievement Award to the Fifth and Hill Neighborhood Rights Campaign resident leaders. We are presenting to Ebbie Cook in memoriam, and Boogie is here on his behalf. Magnolia Cook, Jerry Lewis, MD Pelmore, and Eileen Oldham. Mr. Pelmore and Ms. Oldham are unable to be here tonight. And we are recognizing Ebbie Cook in memoriam. Ebbie passed away last year on April 22nd, and I know that there is not a day that goes by that his family, friends, and his Fifth and Hill family don't think of him and miss him. We miss him at every single meeting and every event. And I don't exaggerate when I say that Ebbie was and still is one of my all-time favorite people. The Lifetime Achievement Award is rare and special because it recognizes someone for a body of work over a lifetime or a period of time that must surely feel like a lifetime. Although we have recognized these leaders in the past, we thought that it was fitting to recognize them again with this award tonight because they have truly dedicated their lives to this environmental justice struggle and because their work will profoundly change the lives of others for the better. These resident leaders are the core group and the driving force behind the Fifth and Hill Neighborhood Rights Campaign. For those of you who don't know, the Fifth and Hill Neighborhood Rights Campaign is fighting to clean up the contamination from a toxic site owned by Ameren. The site is a former manufactured gas plant that was located at 5th and Hill Streets. It is really important to understand that this is a toxic site registered with the Illinois EPA in the middle of a residential neighborhood with mostly single-family homes. It's not out in some industrial park. It is in the backyards and down the street from where people live. There are 3 daycares around the site, and people who live in this neighborhood have been and continue to be exposed to toxic contamination, especially in the form of indoor vapor intrusion. That's when you get to breathe toxic chemicals in your home because they move through the soil, through the groundwater, and now they're vaporizing in your home. This year marks the 11th year of the campaign. That's right, these leaders have been waging a grassroots environmental justice campaign for over 11 years. And yes, they don't do it alone. We have amazing people who have joined us, and many of them are here this evening. Many are students, and we very much appreciate y'all's work. The resident leaders don't show any signs of quitting or retiring, even despite having their health affected, most likely by exposure to toxic contamination. I've been a community organizer with healthcare consumers for 22 years now, and this has been the longest and toughest campaign I have ever been involved with. I have never seen anything like it, including the staying power of these leaders. Since the residents started the campaign, there have been many victories along the way, none of which would have been possible without their consistent and strong leadership. To name just a few, they forced the Illinois EPA and Ameren to make the results of the environmental tests public. A very basic right, the right to know. They forced Ameren to actually clean up its property, including excavating toxic soil down to 24 feet below the ground. They forced the city of Champaign to plug a toxic pipe that was used to dump coal tar into the Boneyard Creek. I mean, healthcare consumers might have threatened the city of Champaign with a lawsuit under the federal Clean Water Act, but still, it worked. They brought the US EPA into the neighborhood to do an investigation of off-site contamination in the neighborhood outside of Ameren's property, and this is still an ongoing project. And not only have they been fighting for a cleanup in the neighborhood, they've gotten involved with city zoning issues, redevelopment, and giving input into the city's Boneyard Creek redevelopment project. Beyond that, they've had a lot of involvement with various projects with University of Illinois professors and classes, including providing a great deal of oral and public history. And after attending dozens of classes and working on lots of projects, they like to joke about how they haven't been to college, but they are professors now. Despite the brief listing of some of their major activities, we didn't really bring them here tonight to recognize any specific victory or activity. We really just wanted to recognize this group of amazing individuals for their sheer dedication and tenacity and their staying power in this struggle, which seems unending and sometimes moves at an unimaginably slow pace. The ultimate goal of the campaign is to make Ameren clean up all of its toxic contamination that is in the neighborhood, including that outside of its property line. What's at stake for the residents, for generations past and passing and generations to come, is their health and their lives. What's at stake for Ameren is money and the setting of a precedent, creating expectations for thorough cleanups in other communities where Ameren and other companies have former manufactured gas plants. They don't want to do that. Some people think that being in a struggle this long means that we are losing or we are not getting anywhere. Nothing could be further from the truth. Ameren likes to do these half-assed cleanups of their manufactured gas plant sites in a couple of years, coming into communities with some fanfare and praise for being a good corporate citizen and doing their voluntary cleanup. They like to get in and get out within a couple of years, getting positive press and attaboys from local government bodies and leaving undetected toxic contamination behind in their wake after an inadequate remediation. Believe me when I tell you that the fact that Ameren is still involved in doing testing and remediation after 11 years is something that they detest. But we just eat it up. They wish they were gone from our community as of about 8 years ago. The Illinois EPA feels the same way. Neither Ameren nor the Illinois EPA are fans of the Fifth and Hill leaders. No offense to y'all. And this campaign, Maggie and Jerry and others have held their feet to the fire, demanding a thorough cleanup, which Ameren absolutely does not want to do. In fact, we are in a skirmish right now with Ameren and Illinois EPA, and in recent local media, both entities had something interesting to say. When residents were demanding transparency and an update on environmental data and remediation plans, which we haven't gotten for 3 years or something, an Ameren spokesperson said that, quote, Ameren does not consider themselves to be answerable to the Fifth and Hill Neighborhood Rights Campaign, and that the immediate stakeholders are the city of Champaign and the Illinois EPA. Well, we'll just see about that. We've made them answer to us before, and we will again. Meanwhile, Illinois EPA's Kim Biggs, who I don't know who she is or why she was quoted, we talked to different people, but she says that the toxic contamination in the neighborhood under 5th Street will likely be allowed to remain in place, quote, as the contamination is not expected to migrate further. That's an interesting perspective on groundwater. One not based in science. So we'll see about that too. So we are recognizing these Fifth and Hill leaders because they will not be moved. We are recognizing them for the work they will continue to do and the victories that they will achieve, because we know that no matter how long it takes, they will get there. The leadership group of the campaign meets once a month, every single month, and we've been doing it for 11 years. If a meeting falls on a holiday and I have the day off, they meet that holiday and I go to that meeting. They don't take holidays from working for justice. Under the leadership of Ebbie Cook, MD Pelmore, Maggie Cook, Jerry Lewis, and Eileen Oldham, this group has become like a family, and it is a growing family with more people joining and being welcomed in all the time. They are warm and gracious and just envelop the people who come in, and you just want to keep going and keep working with them and never stop. We know that this struggle will continue for a long time. Ameren is not going to willingly clean up the toxic soil and groundwater that poisons this neighborhood. We can't count on Ameren or the Illinois EPA, and probably not the US EPA, but we can count on these resident leaders. They will be here every step of the way. And so Maggie and Jerry and Boogie, on behalf of Eddie, I'm so glad that y'all could be here tonight to accept this award, and we will give the awards to Mr. Pelmore and Eileen as well, for your important and truly good work and your sheer, unwavering dedication and tenacity on behalf of Champaign County healthcare consumers. It is my tremendous honor to recognize you tonight with the Lifetime Achievement Award.